All right, y'all, this is the one you've been waiting for. Today, we will have a first big guest on the show. You absolutely cannot miss this one. So let's get into the Inferno.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Season 1, Episode 3 of Into the Inferno. I am Sky, and I am joined by Patrick and Juan.
Vamos.
Yeah.
And we have a very special guest today on the podcast. We have Dothan United's own head coach, Carl Reynolds.
How we doing, guys?
Hey,
Pleasure
Coach.
to be here.
Doing good. Good to have you here.
We're very thrilled to have you on the podcast today. And we had some questions that are just burning that we want to ask you.
I'm sure.
We've been dying. We've been dying, Coach.
Just before we get into that, just a couple things we wanted to go over before we get started. We do have some new player announcements since the last time we got on. I did not keep track of who we had announced last episode, so I'm just going to go down the list. We got Yago returning, Ty returning, Diego, Alec, Gabino, Jordan Schumacher, Alexander Blanche, Josh Salas, and we have a brand new player joining us for the 2025 season. That is Kyle Grant out of VMI, and he looks great.
Yes, he does.
We are very excited to have him joining us today, and we were hoping that you could provide a little bit more backstory on him.
Yeah, I mean, obviously delighted to have all those guys back. And then I think Kyle is the one on the list that's the new one, right? So, yeah, we've obviously, there's been a lot of talk about the amount of research and the amount of work that's gone into recruiting, and Kyle's had a fantastic season at VMI. He's actually in the process right now of transferring out, which I won't say all of those details for him, but he's obviously been recognised to be a player that can really impact at a high level, and that's our hope for him, is for him to come in and be the dynamic player that he is, and he can play in multiple positions, which is really good for us because we don't want to be predictable. And yeah, I think he's going to be really exciting. Somebody that will get the fans off their seats, and that's what we're looking for.
Hey, that's the goal. Get everybody up in the stands yelling and screaming.
That's it.
Exactly.
Yeah, of course, as soon as he got announced, we hit Google.
Yeah. I mean, we're in a group chat, and I mean, immediately it's just like, boom, boom, boom. Find all the videos of him scoring goals, like this and that. And it got us even more excited.
Yeah, the clips we saw of him, they definitely look good. Like one, he took a long ball from the back, made the perfect time run, staying on side, and then pulled the keeper out of position, just had to beat a defender at that point. Like, he looks really good. We're excited.
Yeah, I think the one thing that we've had to try and do with the recruiting is find players that can help solve problems in different scenarios in games. And you know, they're going to be games where hopefully we have a lot of the ball and you need players in tighter areas. And then there are going to be games where maybe it's a bit more transitional and we need players that can really penetrate those spaces in behind, and he obviously has that quality. So yeah, we're really excited. Edu actually did a fantastic job of identifying him, and then we had multiple conversations with him, and had a really good in-depth phone call and Zoom call after that, and yeah, we're delighted that he's coming.
I knew we kept Edu around for a reason.
Just that's all he does. Yeah,
no, we love all the coaches.
Well, as we're looking forward to the 2025 season, like, it's 8 weeks away at this point. Like, I think we counted it up today, but we can't wait for it to get here. I'm sure everybody else is just as excited as we are. You know, in the first episode, we talked about some of our favorite memories from last season, and we wanted to know from your side of things, what was some of your favorite memories?
That's a really good question. I think on field, the one that always sticks out is probably the last game of the season, and not really necessarily just because of the result. I mean, obviously it's nice to come back and you feel good about, you know, maybe being able to make a difference at halftime, and obviously the reaction of the crowd. But you know, after the game, I think that I mean, you'll see the picture on my phone. Absolute exhaustion. just from the season, but also just really upset. Just didn't want it to end. Felt like there was really unfinished business, and maybe we didn't get the rub of the green at times, and we deserved a little bit more. And I put it as a screensaver on my phone because it's the one thing that I see every day that just drives me and makes sure that we're making all the right decisions to not have that feeling again. So I think that definitely stands out. There was a moment in the first home game against Tennessee where I was able to have my little girls on the pitch with me, and we watched the fireworks, and that was a really unique moment because, as most of you know, like I spend a lot of time working and I don't get to see them as much as I would like, and when they do get to come here, to be able to spend those moments with them is really special.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite images that was taken completely last season, was that shot from behind of you sitting there on the pitch with your little girls.
Yeah, I blew it up and I put it in my house.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, it's incredible. Awesome. Yeah, absolutely incredible.
Yeah, I think we have very different ways of looking at that last match. You know, I said it before. I think we all have the same feeling of, you know, we were so happy to have been able to have the experience of having our own team. And, you know, having that moment at the end of the season where we're like, well, what are we going to do now for another, 9 months? You know, it was very special. And watching those fireworks at the end, that was incredibly special. You know, things didn't go exactly how we wanted, but we know it's going to be better this year. And we look forward to it.
Yeah, for sure. So, you know us. You know we're ready and excited and just fired up to be back in Rip Pews this year. So less than 2 months out, right about 2 months out. How are you feeling just to get back out on that pitch and get the sophomore season going?
Yeah, I honestly was ready 2 days after the season ended.
So were we.
It can't come soon enough. I mean, obviously it's a very different feeling this year because last year felt so rushed. This time last year we'd had 2 players signed or something like that, and I've done with the roster signings now, so everything now is essentially just preparation. We're starting the group chat in the next 2 days. They'll have their fitness assignments, their IDP plans, and everything will go out. So we're really ahead of the curve compared to where we were last year. And it's just excitement. But then I've got to be the one that's sensible and can't get too excited because we've got to take it every day at a time. So yeah, I try and catch myself sometimes and not to get too excited, not to think too much about that first home game or that first game, and just think about the first training session and take it that way. And I think if we can do that and approach every day and every week with a beginner's mind, and I think it'll stand us in good stead.
So that your answer there kind of actually led right into my next question a little bit.
See, I knew it was coming, didn't I?
Can you tell us just a little bit what is a match day like for you? What sort of mental preparations you go through for each match day?
Yeah, I joke with the staff all the time. I say this to everybody, and I really mean it. Match day for me is the most relaxing day of the entire week. Really? Because all the preparation is done. We put so much work in to the video analysis side, to the training preparation, to the logistics of when are team meetings, when do we want them to eat, when do we want them to nap. We go through so much detail that game day for me is very much go and enjoy yourself and enjoy the fact that the preparation is done. And you get to turn up and you get to interact with the fans a little bit. And we try not to do any type of tactical information anytime after breakfast in the morning. So we'll eat breakfast as a team. We'll do our team meal and just recap all the tactical information that we'd have done in the week. And then we don't talk about it. Now it's time for every individual to prepare. I'm massive into meditation. So I'll always, a couple of hours before kickoff, I'll do my breathing exercises and I'll just meditate and just go through different what if circumstances. What if we have a man sent off? What if this happens? What if that happens? Just to kind of try and play the game before it happens. But yeah, ultimately, as soon as the whistle goes, you're in it and you're feeling those nerves and you can't play the game for them. So I'm very much like you at that point. We're just hoping for the best, you know?
Yeah. Well, you know, we having been sent off last year was one thing that really hurt us a lot. So hopefully we don't see that as much this year.
So for those who don't know about your history, can you kind of go through what's led you to where you are now and help develop you into the coach and person that you are and how you ended up in Podunk, Dothan, Alabama?
Good question. How long you got? Obviously, football, soccer has been my life. That's all I've done. It's all I've ever done. It's all I've ever wanted to do. I was obviously in the academy system back home from 6 years old. So it was pretty relentless and professional from the minute I remember kicking a ball, which in some ways is really good, but in some ways is you maybe don't get to enjoy the game as much as you should as a kid. It becomes very serious very quickly. And I think that kind of experience kind of led me to wanting to be a coach, because I wanted to help create an environment for the players where they were loved and they were allowed to express themselves within the philosophy and the principles that we have as a staff. I obviously came over here, went to college. My whole educational background has been in psychology, because that was just something I felt like was going to be so important moving into the coaching realm. And I was very much someone, and anybody that's known me for a long time will know this to be true. I always wanted to be a coach, and I was always more excited about the coaching side than the playing side. I don't think my dad would mind me saying now, like, it was a really difficult conversation between him and I when I said, hey, it's time for me to stop playing and go coach, because he had been on the journey with me. And obviously, like any parent, you want to see your kid, you know, push it as far as they can. But since that moment has been so supportive, and I just love helping individuals really chase their dreams and be able to live the life that I was able to live through the game. And of course, I'm definitely OCD when it comes to, you know, the way that I want things done and the tactical side of it, and that definitely kind of checks that box for me as well. So every waking moment for me has been about being the best coach I can possibly be.
Wow.
Nice.
I didn't even know all that. To be honest with you, I've gotten to know you just in the year you've been here, but I haven't known much of your background up until today, and so I'm very excited to hear that. You got me fired up again, and you're already our coach.
Well, and the psychology thing, that's very interesting. I mean, and that makes sense, because a lot of, you know, coaching, to me, some of that is, you know, how, you know, understanding your players and trying to really communicate with them what you want them to do and what is going to be good for them.
Exactly. You know? I mean, it's the number one thing. I mean, people don't care what you know until they know how much you care. So for me, making sure that the player really understands that we care, and you know, of course, we want to win games and we want to win championships, but there's not a team in the country, there's not a team in the world that's not going to tell them that. So we need to give them what others can't. And, you know, for me, my biggest philosophy is improve the individual. And if you can improve the individual, then you improve the team. Right. And for every individual, that looks very, very different. And that's not just necessarily the players, that's the staff, that's myself. We got to be continuously on this journey. And I think one of the biggest things I took from last year was just so many of the things that maybe we done right, but then some of the mistakes that we made. We're 100% be better for it because of those experiences, you know. and hopefully the entire club is, and even yourselves as a fan base. You know, you're learning what's working, what's not working, what you can do better.
Right.
Like, if we can all constantly stay on that journey, then we're going to do some special things.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I'm quite the opposite of Sky. As we well established on this show, when announcements are made, I turn into a stalker really, really fast. So as soon as they announce Carl Reynolds as the head coach, I was diving into your history.
Oh, Lord.
You know, coming up through Chelsea Academy.
Yeah.
Of course, I'm wearing a Chattanooga jersey right now. Played for Chattanooga. You were in the Red Bull organization for a little while, New York. So, yeah, I did my homework when it was announced. I'm like, oh, we got a good one.
Yeah, it's been a journey. I've again, been really fortunate to, as a youth player, was coached by some of the best youth coaches in the world. My youth coach at the time is the academy director at Chelsea. I was coached by Brendan Rodgers, who's at Celtic now. So I had a really, really good, I guess, pedigree of this is what the top level is and this is the way that you should operate. And I'll be honest with you, I'm just trying to emulate that. I'm just trying to, operate at that level every day. And all of us coaches, I think anyone in any field, if you're going to be successful, you have to take bits that you like and you have to steal them. And I think that's what we're all doing as coaches and as individuals. We're stealing from each other, and it's the one that can steal the most and put it together and implement it the best is going to be the one that's going to be the most successful, So that's all we're trying to do.
You're doing a great job of it.
Yeah.
Sometimes, yeah. Sometimes, hopefully a better job this year than last year, but yeah.
Kind of piggybacking off of that, what is your core coaching philosophy, and how does that translate to your training sessions and game strategy?
I get asked this one a fair bit, and I can really simplify it. I want the ball.
Yep.
It's really that simple, and I say to anybody that'll listen, none of us got into playing football to run around. We got into football to have the ball. So that's what training should look like. That's what the game should feel like to me. We want the ball. And listen, we have to be humble enough to understand that there are going to be moments and times in games where you're not going to have as much of it. It's football. It's the way that it is. But the overwhelming thing for me is I want the ball. Otherwise, we might as well just go run cross country.
Right.
So that's what it all boils down to for me. And when I first picked up a ball at 4 years old, that was all I wanted. I just wanted the ball, and that hasn't changed since the minute I walked through that door just now. So, yeah.
Nice.
Well, we even saw that a bit with some of the training sessions that we had last year.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, just like that aggressive, but controlled.
Yeah.
Kind of way of attacking the ball.
And consistent passing too. You gotta make the pass.
Yeah, it's that balance. I mean, we obviously don't want to pass the ball just for the sake of passing the ball. There has to be a purpose to it. And I feel like, one of the lessons I learned from last year was at times we overplayed. And that obviously comes from coaching, but it comes from players understanding moments that we can be a bit more progressive. And, we've just got to find that right balance. And when you find that balance, it's brilliant to watch.
Yeah,
It sure is.
We could see that, in all the training session. I think you may have even mentioned that the announcement night at Circle City Brewery when you were first announced that you're a we want the ball kind of coach, and we saw it, even in like open tryouts, and especially through the training sessions that we were able to see last year. Is keep the ball. If you lose the ball, go get the ball.
Go get it back. Yeah, exactly. It's so funny because it's like you could literally use the same philosophy for rec soccer. It's like soccer's about the ball. I mean, it's very simplistic, but I think that could be the brilliance of it,
Yeah,
Exactly.
So a big part of your philosophy that you've said is culture.
Yeah.
And how do you maintain the culture for Dothan United soccer? And, you've talked about how it's privileged to come play for Dothan. How do you kind of maintain that way of thinking inside, like, the clubhouse?
Yeah, it comes from the people. We've done an incredible job this year I need to give my brother a shout out. He's an agent, and he's been right there with me on a lot of these, identifying players, talking to players. He's played for me before, so he can kind of talk to them on that level as well. And what he does a brilliant job of is he knows me, obviously personally, so he knows how passionate I am about it. He knows how passionate I am about the club and the community, and he's been able to get on some of these calls prior to me and really delve into the person and let me know whether this looks like it's going to be a fit just personality wise. Is this somebody that's going to come in and be genuinely grateful for what it is that they're going to get throughout the summer, from the support to the way that the club look after the players and so on. And if that's not the case, then we don't need to have a conversation. So the culture really comes down to the people, and then it comes down to the consistency of us to keep bringing that to life all the time, in terms of the way that we act around training, the way that we take care of our locker room, every single detail becomes absolutely vital. And then the biggest thing is the coach doesn't lead the team, the players lead the team. So whether I'm saying something in the locker room doesn't matter if those same things aren't being said when I'm not in the locker room. So what we've done is I think we've done a really incredible job this year of bringing in people that want to live those standards every day, because they understand that if those standards are going to be lived with every moment, then that will translate to the performances on the field and the way that we train and so on. So that was huge for us. The culture was absolutely massive. And I'll be honest, we've turned away top players, all-American players, because we just didn't feel like that fit was there culturally and personality-wise.
Right.
We've got an unbelievable group of people this year, and they just so happen to be really good soccer players.
Awesome.
That's great to hear.
Yeah.
Because, like us as fans, we really want good players, but more than anything, we want likable guys.
Yeah.
We want, don't get us wrong, we want some guys who are out there and mean on the pitch.
Yeah.
We want them to give the other team a hard time. But I think really seeing the players come and spend time with us last season, that really was special, and being able to see how great of guys they are, that's phenomenal to hear.
We had a sheet that we put together where it was there was two main parts to it. There was one, we kind of gave a word for dragon, so DRA, so on, and I'm going to put myself on the spot here and give you these words, and I'm probably going to mess it up, but we wanted players that were determined. Okay, so everybody needs to come in with a chip on their shoulder, because that's the level we're at. We're here to prove ourselves. Me as a coach, us as a club, them individually as players. We need those players to be determined. We wanted them to feel the responsibility that it is to be a part of Dothan United and to connect with the community and so on. We want them to be approachable. I mean, it's amazing, and I'm far from complaining about this, but I can't go through Walmart without somebody saying hello. I've never. So we need people that are going to be more than happy to shake hands and have pictures and sign stuff. Very, very much like Yago does an incredible job of it. Yep. Of just making people feel like they're part of this family. The G, grateful. Again, if you're not in that locker room grateful for this opportunity that you've got, then again, you just don't need to be here, Obsessed, because I'm absolutely obsessed. So if you don't match my obsession, then again, you don't need to be here. And then the end, never say die. And we always bring it back to the last game of the season. We didn't win the game, but it was the best feeling, because I really felt at that moment like we got the most out of the group that we had, even if it wasn't where we really wanted it to be. And then the last question is, do we see this person walking through the corridor every day? Because if the answer's no, if there's a person walking through the corridor and we're putting our head down, not wanting to, then they don't need to be here. And if they check those boxes, we've got ourselves a brilliant person.
I love that, man.
That's
probably too much information, but
No.
I'm gonna get that printed out and put it on.
Yeah, I was going to say, I was like,
we need that
print
poster.
that out. I was like,
we need the anagram poster for sure. So we've talked a little bit about last year. We've talked a lot about what's made you who you are and how you approach the team. So let's look a little bit about this coming up year. And I know the political answer here is all of them. But are there any matches this year that you specifically have circled that you just really want to win? And I can tell you that we definitely have at least a couple in mind ourselves.
Yeah, I think I know your ones.
We don't hide
Well, I'm gonna, and I very much respect that about you. I will definitely start this by saying every week, whoever the next game is, they will have my full attention. Like there is no, I don't care whether the bottom of the league, top of the league, it doesn't matter. We learned the hard way last year where we were dropping points to teams that were at the bottom of the league. So it did not matter where they were in the league. So I'll preempt it with that. Listen, I've made absolutely no secret by saying that we've got to chase Asheville. For year after year after year, Scott's done an incredible job there. It's a great organisation, and we know that if we're above Asheville, there's a very, very good chance we're winning championships. So we have to put them at the top of that list, as I believe everybody probably will. I think the new teams coming in, I mean, obviously Montgomery are bringing that rivalry, which is always going to be really interesting, and they're our first thought because they're our first game, of course. Apotheos, who had a lot of success in the NPSL, I mean, they were national championship runner-up. Columbus had an incredible year last year. So I really believe that our conference is one of the top, if not the top conference in the country now, talent-wise. And we know that when we get out of that conference, we can compete with anybody. And that's the plan. But yeah, just to be honest, most of the games I'm looking forward to are always the home games.
Oh yeah.
Because what you guys bring and the way that we're made to feel is incredible. But we have to make sure that we're picking those points up on the road as well.
Well, the best news we got in this offseason was Montgomery and Columbus, because those are travelable games for us. So y'all are going to have a couple games this year where you don't just get it at Rip Hughes. We're going, what was your way of saying it? Walk in, they trap, take over,
Walk
they
into
trap.
they trap, take over, they trap.
Yeah. we're going to make those away games feel like home games.
Amazing.
Yeah. I'm excited.
We're obviously extremely appreciative of you guys, and we can't wait. We cannot wait.
Us either.
And we've already been working with Columbus on
I saw that,
the Peanuts and Cola Derby. They've got a supporters group that's kind of in a similar spot as us, and we've been communicating with them, trying to plan some stuff for their match and then for our match. So they're going to have some fans come down here, but we're going to be louder than them. And we're going to go up there, and we're going to be louder than them.
And we're bringing the drums.
And we're bringing the drums.
That's what you love. There's competition on and off the field. That's what makes this sport incredible.
Yeah. So USL, they announced Division I coming within the next 2 to 3 years, and the possibility of finally U.S. soccer getting promotion and relegation. Because we've been just the laughingstock of world soccer because we don't pro-rel around here. What are your thoughts on that and how it could possibly benefit Dothan United down the line?
Yeah, I think we've made no secret that the club wants to continue to elevate itself and be at the highest possible level that the infrastructure and the fan base and whatever can stand. And I believe that's above League Two, obviously. But for me, the biggest problem that the US have had for so long is obviously geography. It makes it so difficult. When you look at the size of England's the size of Alabama, and we have over 100 professional teams there. Alabama have one professional team. So that geography is always going to be the biggest problem. Obviously, my belief is that if we can find a way to get promotion relegation, it just takes it to a whole nother level of theatre. because again, I'm from a country that's all I've ever known. And some of the best memories I've got of watching games has been when teams have been promoted or relegated. And that drama on the last day of the season and so on, and the theatrics that go with that. And I think that could be incredible in the United States. If that could be brought to life over here, because I think the fans would eat it up. How that works, when that works, I mean, there are so many different moving parts to it, of course, geography being the biggest one. But I am absolutely all for it. I know the club are absolutely all for it, because, again, as a club, as an organisation, as a coach, as a fan base, as the players, we want to compete against the best there is. And the quickest and easiest way to do that is by adding promotion relegation and letting everybody go to work.
Yep. I don't know if you watched Ted Lasso.
I watched it recently. People used to ask me this all the time, and I'm like, no, I've never watched it. And over Christmas I did.
Yeah, there was a part in it where I believe it was Sam. He asked Ted Lasso, he's like, do you not have promotion and relegation in America? And he's like, no. It's like, well, what happens? It's like, oh, at the end of the season, the people at the bottom just play meaningless games and go through the motions.
Pretty much, yeah.
No match is meaningless. We've seen some returning players announce, and we know we have new signings coming up until kickoff, pretty much. Without revealing too much, because we'd love for you to reveal all of the players to us. We'd love to know. But how excited are you about the group of guys you're bringing in?
I'm more excited about this group than a group that I've ever had.
Really?
Yeah. That's not taken away from, we had so many successful years at Southern States, and obviously the group that we had last year, which you fall in love with these guys. Like they you spend so much time with them. But the excitement I've had in terms of the conversations I've had, the futures I believe that these individuals have, I've never been so excited. And then you mix that with the thought of being back at Rip Hughes and thousands of people and whatever. It's the simple answer would be I've never been as excited as I am right now. But again, it looks fantastic on paper, but we've got to bring it to life, and that's our job to do that. And there's a big responsibility in that.
For sure. Well, that gets me excited. How about you?
All right, here we go.
I'm excited. I just want some
When's
tape.
the first game?
I think we did. There was like an analysis done from the USL last year. I think I can tell you this, and it kind of broke down like where our players were coming from, and not just nationality, but also like level they've played at and whatever. We have. Last year we had a lot of internationals, less Americans. This year we have a real balance. There's more American-based players than there are international. And the internationals that we've got are incredible as well. Last year I think we had like 7 Division 1 or players that have played Division 1. This year we've got 21. So there's definitely been a real shift in terms of where these players are coming from. But again, that comes with time, and it also comes with us being able to. We're not selling the blind now. Like we have things to back it up. We have the pictures and the videos and everything that goes with what we were able to build last year. So yeah, that honestly did half the job for me.
Yeah, they've been wanting to see your PowerPoint presentation real bad.
Yeah.
Steve told us you had quite the presentation that you give out.
We put a lot of work in that. That's for sure. Yeah.
Does that help, like in terms of players, in terms of when they see, like how many fans, in terms of? I mean, look, we know players. Yes, they're in it for the right reasons, but they also like the show. I mean, they want to be loved. They want to be cheered for. Like that's something I imagine that they all dream about at one point. So does that help in the recruiting?
100%. Yeah, and what really helps as well is obviously the videos and everything that can back it up. I mean, I've known and I've had this myself where you get told, we get this amount of fans and you get excited as a player, and then maybe you turn up and it's not quite or maybe you get that once a season. The difference here is it's every single day, every single game. And I like you mentioned Chattanooga earlier. Like Chattanooga in its infancy was a really exciting project at that particular time. It was the team to be at when we were in the NPSL and the PDL, whatever. And we knew it was a massive privilege to be able to play there. And it was a massive privilege of mine to be able to captain there as well. But the biggest part of that was the fan base. The Chat Hooligans were incredible. And one of the first things I said to Steve and to Mike and to Eric was, this reminds me of Chattanooga in its infancy. And if anything, we're getting more fans now than Chattanooga did when they started, and they've done such an incredible job in Chattanooga. That excites me as well, because I think there's a massive amount of growth there as well, and who doesn't want to be a part of that?
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah, I feel like we started to really tap it at the end of last year with how many people we could bring in, and I've made it clear. You know, talked to Steve about it. I see us getting 10K easily this year. You know,
I know they've set big goals. I won't say what the goals are, but they've set big goals. And
I want to see Rip Hughes just completely packed.
Yeah,
I want everybody to struggle to hear us because everybody else is being so loud. That's what I want. So kind of going off of that, this is your time to speak to the people out there. Is there anything that you would like to say to the Dothan United fans, and what can they do to help the club be a success?
I think it's that very simple. Talk about us, tell a friend, bring a friend. I haven't heard anybody that's come out to their first game and not loved it and not come back. The biggest thing for the community itself is, and I really genuinely mean this when I say this, is it's a very, very special place. Everybody they take you in, they make you feel like this is home. It's become home for me. I know it became home for the coaches and all the players. Keep being you, because that's what makes this place really, really unique. And I keep telling all the players, like, you just don't understand until you hear what that feeling's like. And not just on game day. You know, at times we're getting more people to our training sessions than people are getting to games across the country. I mean, that's a special environment. Yeah. That's a special environment to be a part of. So I would just say, keep telling friends, keep Dothan United in your mouth and on the tip of your tongue, and bring as many people out as possible. And our job is to make sure that we do the business on the pitch and off the pitch with everything that goes into the production that Steve and everybody do such an incredible job of. And just keep being you, because you're just incredible.
You heard the man. Be there, be loud, bring a friend.
Yeah.
Bring multiple friends.
Yep.
The most important question of all, and I'm sorry to steal Patrick's thunder. I know he was wanting to.
No, you're good.
He was wanting to ask this one. How's it going to feel lifting that trophy at the end of the season?
Unbelievable. We laugh, but that vision has been in my head multiple times. And I've said to Steve and everybody else, I cannot imagine that night when that happens. I just cannot imagine. There'll be tears for sure. I'm absolutely positive of it.
I guarantee you Foster Street is going to be shut down.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Like, whenever that happens, good Lord.
Y'all thought the Mardi Gras parade was wild.
Yeah, just wait for Dothan's first championship parade.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for joining us, Coach. It's been a pleasure, and we looked forward to bringing you on for a while, and it did not disappoint.
Yeah, for sure.
And so you're welcome anytime that you want to come back. Just let us know, and you can just show up if you want to.
I know where it is now.
Yeah.
No, listen, I appreciate you guys. I know that the staff and the players appreciated you guys so much. Steve and everybody continue to speak really highly of you, and we're just really thankful for what you're doing. The club can't continue to do what it wants to do and grow without yourselves. So you're a bigger part of this as any of us, and keep being you.
Hey, it really feels like a family.
It does.
Oh, yeah.
It really does.
Yeah.
And we're very thankful for what you guys do.
Yeah.
We only do it because, you guys give us something to cheer for. And, none of that would happen without all of y'all doing what you do. And so, coming from us and coming from, I think I can speak for Dothan United fans. Thank y'all for everything y'all do, all the work you put in every day, because it's a lot.
Yeah.
And I don't think people realize how much of a sacrifice it is. So thank you.
Yeah, not just you, Edu, Kevin, Tony,
everybody.
Everybody on the staff. You know, we just just a few days ago celebrated our 1 year birthday for the Circle City Inferno.
Yeah.
And it's crazy to see what just us talking about getting together and supporting this little project of a soccer team here in Dothan. We had no idea what it would become last year. It could have went sideways. We didn't know what soccer would look like in Dothan, Alabama. We knew the hardcore of us. We knew we were going to be there. We love soccer. It's our sport. But for it now to be coming into the second year of the club and us coming in our second year supporting it, we look so forward to what's going to happen this year. And we cannot wait to see that trophy get lifted. And we can't wait to be there screaming our heads off the whole year. Mm-hmm. And y'all know we're going to be there.
We're going to be wild.
Yeah.
We appreciate you. And I'm sure that there are going to be players that are playing for us, that have signed for us this year, that will be listening to this, and potential players for years to come that are going to be listening to this. And I would just like to say that you have no idea what you're walking into. It's absolutely unbelievable. And I'll say it again, it is an absolute honor and privilege to be a part of this organization. And nobody should take that for granted.
And we'll reiterate that for the teams that come play us in Dothan. You have no idea what you're walking into.
Yeah, there's a guy in a lucha mask, a skeleton. It's a whole thing.
I think I know that guy.
Yeah.
But anyways, thanks everybody for tuning in to this special episode of Into the Inferno. We're very thankful for all of you guys tuning in every month or so. If there's anything that you guys have questions on or anything that you want us to cover, just let us know in the comments. And until next time, Vamos Dragones.
Vamos Dragones.